Hi everyone. In this video, we will be discussing regarding the different types of placenta which are being seen in case of the animals, that is especially in case of the mammals. So in the earlier video, we had discussed regarding the placenta, where placenta is said to be an intimate connection between that of the fetus as well as the maternal part. So where we already discussed that the placenta consists of the fetal part, that is called as the chorion, and the maternal part, that is called as the decidua basilis. So in case of a placenta which is being formed in case of the mammals, so these animals which possess the placenta, so they are said to be the placental mammals. And the placenta which is being present, so this entire placenta which is you can see here, so these placenta which are there, so they are responsible for the various of the functions, as we have discussed that the placenta is involved in the nutrition. It helps in the process of respiration, excretion, secretion of the various hormones, and thereby the placenta acts as an endocrine gland. Thereafter, placenta is also involved in the storage. That's what we had discussed. That is storage of glycogen as well as the fat in the form of a reserve food material for that of the fetal growth. And placenta also acts as a barrier which generally prevents the entry of the unwanted substances from the maternal circulation to that of the fetal circulation. So those were the functions of the placenta which we had already discussed. So how this placenta and is being an association between the maternal part as well as the fetal part. So in case of the placenta, so placenta, as I have told you already, that it consists of both the maternal as well as the fetal arteries and veins which are being present in an intricate manner, that is in the form of interdigitations. It is present in the form of interdigitations. So where here, for example, if we take these as the fetal blood vessels and these are the maternal blood vessels, so in between the fetal blood vessel and the maternal blood vessel, so there is a presence of the space. So the space which is being present, so that is called as the lacunae, which means when the fetal arteries, when the fetal blood vessel brings the nitrogenous waste, so that nitrogenous waste first will diffuse into the lacunae and thereafter it will diffuse into the maternal blood vessel. So thereby it transports the nitrogenous waste from the fetal blood vessel into the maternal blood vessel, and thereby this nitrogenous waste will be sent to the kidney, to that of the maternal part, where in the maternal kidney the nitrogenous waste gets eliminated. Meanwhile, the oxygen, the nutrients like it may be water, it may be amino acids, it may be all the glucose, everything. So that is from the maternal circulation, it reaches to the placenta. So here if you see, so here this is a blood vessel and in between the two digits you can say there is a space. So that is called as the lacunae. So here the maternal blood vessel will bring the nutrients as well as the oxygen, and that first diffuses into the lacunae and thereby it diffuses into the fetal blood vessel. Now from the fetal blood vessel it enters into the body of the fetus through that of the umbilical cord. So placenta is connected to that of the umbilical cord and umbilical cord gets connected to the developing fetus. So that is how the exchange of the substances occurs in case of the placenta. And I have told you that the blood vessels are not in a direct contact with that of each other, which means the maternal blood vessels and the fetal blood vessels are not directly in contact with each other. So what is the possible reasons why they are not being connected to each other? That is, the first one thing is there may not be the compatibility between the maternal and the fetal blood vessel. So when compatibility is not there, possibly there is no fusion of maternal and fetal blood vessel. Second thing is, in case of the maternal blood, if you see, the pressure of the circulation, whatever pressure is there, so that circulation pressure will be higher in case of the maternal blood vessels when compared to that of the fetal blood. So by chance, if the pressure of the blood which is high in case of the maternal blood vessels, by chance if this blood vessel, blood rushes into that of the fetal blood vessels, so that increase in the pressure of the blood, if it reaches to that of the developing organs, it may cause a damage to that of the growing tissues and organs in the fetus. So that is second possibility where the fetal and maternal blood vessels are not being fused together. And one more possible reason why they are not being tightly attached is possibility is this connection which is there between the maternal as well as the fetal blood vessel. So that is being made, that intimacy is not there, because it may be to check or to prevent the entry of either it may be the blood proteins or it may be the germs or pathogens to enter into the fetal circulation. So these are the three possible reasons why the maternal blood vessels and the fetal blood vessels are not directly in contact with each other, but they are present in the form of interdigitations. Okay, so that is about how the placenta and the blood vessels are being present. Now, in case of today's video, what we will be discussing is presence of the different types of a placenta based on, for example, it may be based on the histology. Okay, that is the first one. It may be based on the nature of the fetal membranes. Okay, thereafter it may be the fate of the uterine placenta, or it may be the distribution of the villi, okay, on the chorion. So based on the four possible different types, we are able to explain different types of placenta. So for example, based on the nature of the fetal membranes, the placenta is being categorized into three types. The first one is called as yolk sac placenta. So what happens here is, so in case of the yolk sac placenta, the placenta is being derived from the yolk sac, okay, as well as the chorion. Okay, so chorion and yolk sac together forms the placenta. That is why it is called as yolk sac placenta, which can be seen in case of the metatherians as well as the marsupials. Or you can quote an example, that is, it may be a kangaroo or it may be an opossum. So there in those animals you can see the yolk sac placenta. Thereafter we have, in this particular conditions, we have the second type, that is called as chorioallantoic placenta. So what is being here? There is the placenta is being derived from the chorion as well as allantois, thereby the name chorioallantoic placenta. So which is being commonly seen in case of the eutherians. And the last one is called as chorionic placenta, where the placenta is being derived from the chorion. So as in case of the human beings, you can expect the chorionic placenta, where we had discussed in the earlier video. Thereafter, based on the fate of the uterine placenta, placenta is being categorized into three types. The first one is called as the non-deciduate placenta, in which what happens is no part of the uterine placenta is shed. Means once after, for example, if you take in case of the human beings, so once after the young one comes out during the parturition process, the placenta which is being attached to the uterus, so that also comes along with that of the young ones. So that is different. That is what we call it as deciduate. But in case of non-deciduate, what happens is no part of the uterine placenta, so that is being shed off. So it remains inside the body. So that is what we call as a non-deciduate placenta, which is being commonly seen in case of the horse, ass, okay, and zebra. And the third one, see, deciduate is one, non-deciduate is the second one, and the third one is called as contradeciduate. So contradeciduate type of placenta is where the placenta is resembling to that of the non-deciduate, and even the fetal placenta which is there, that will be absorbed into that of the uterine region. So that is what we call contradeciduate placenta, which can be seen in case of the mammal that is called as mole. Okay, so non-deciduate, deciduate, and contradeciduate. So these are the three types of the placenta based on the fate of uterine placenta, whether the placenta remains inside the body of the mother, or it's the sheds off, or it gets absorbed by the mother maternal uterus. So that is three types. Next is based on the distribution of the villi. Okay, based on the distribution of the villi on chorion, there are again different types of placenta. For example, first one is called as diffused placenta. Next is cotyledonary placenta, discoid placenta, metadiscoid placenta, and zonary placenta. So among the five, in human beings, what we find is the metadiscoidal placenta, which means the villi which are there, chorionic villi. So these chorionic villi, okay, so they starts proliferating and they finally ends with that of a large disc shaped structure. So that is why we call it as metadiscoidal placenta. And the fourth type of the placentas which are being seen, that is based on the histology. So they are, the first one is called as Epithelia Coryell placenta, Syndesmo Coryell, Endothelial Coryell placenta, Hemocoryell placenta, and the last one is called as Hemoendothelial Coryell placenta. So hemoendothelial placenta, right? So types, in today's video what we are discussing is types of placenta based on histology. As I said, there are 5 types. So here in the first one, if you look after, that is called as Epithelia Coryell placenta. Very important is here all the names which are being given to these placenta, they themselves will explain how there is a connection between the fetus as well as the maternal part of the uterus. So let's start with the first one, that is called as Epithelia Coryell placenta. Epithelia Coryell placenta is the simplest or the primitive type of placenta from which the remaining 4 different types of placentas are being derived. So that is Epithelia Coryell placenta, and this placenta consists of the 6 barriers which are there, which are being located in between the fetal part of the placenta and the maternal part of the placenta. So you can see here in the fetal part of the placenta there is presence of the endothelium. So you know that endothelium is nothing but the lining of the blood vessel, which is generally consists of the simple squamous epithelial cell. So this is the endothelium of the blood vessel of the fetus. Surrounding that there is presence of the connective tissue, and here you can see this orange colored what I have marked. So that is called as trophoblast, where trophoblast in future gives rise to the extra embryonic membrane, that is called as chorion. If you look after the maternal part of the placenta, what we can find is the uterine epithelium, and below that you are able to see the presence of the connective tissue, and below or inside the connective tissue there is a presence of the endothelium, that is the blood vessel of the mother. So here all the 6 barriers are being present. All the 6 barriers, 3 are there in the fetal part and 3 are present in the maternal part of the placenta. So where do we find this type of placenta? Is commonly being seen in case of horse, ass, and pig. So this placenta, as it is consisting of the chorion, which is being in a closed contact with that of the epithelium of the uterus, this type of placenta is what we call Epithelia Coryell placenta. So let me explain here. So for example, if this is a fetal blood vessel, which brings the nitrogenous waste. So that nitrogenous waste diffuses here, and thereafter it passes into the chorion. Thereafter it passes into the uterine epithelium, connective tissue, and finally it reaches to that of the endothelium of the maternal part of the placenta. So thereby the diffusion of the substances occurs from the fetal to maternal part and vice versa. So exchange of the substances occurs between these two endothelium. Okay. So the process of exchange of the substances may be what we can say is by diffusion or by active transport, or it may be even by pinocytosis process. Okay, so this is as there is involvement of the uterine epithelium as well as the chorion. So this is called as Epithelia Coryell placenta. Next is what we can see is the second type, that is called as Coryell placenta. So in case of Coryell placenta, okay, it consists of 5 barriers, where you can see one of the barrier is being removed. That is what is that? That is called as the uterine epithelium is absent in case of Coryell placenta, which means this chorion which is there, okay, so this chorion is being directly in contact with that of the connective tissue of the maternal part of placenta. So diffusion of the substances may occur even faster when compared to that of Epithelia Coryell placenta. So Coryell placenta consists of the endothelium of the fetus, connective tissue of the fetus, thereafter is the chorion of the fetus, and in the maternal part it consists of the connective tissue of the maternal part and the endothelium. So this is what we call as Coryell placenta, which is being commonly observed in cow, sheep, goat and camels, and that are generally called as the ungulates. Next type, the third type of the placenta based on the histology is Endothelial Coryell placenta. So what you can observe, okay, from the earlier ones is the number of the barriers are being reducing. Okay, so what you can see here is the fetal, okay, fetal endothelium is present, fetal connective tissue is there, thereafter the chorion is present. So these three which are there, so they are the part of the fetal part. Whereas in case of the maternal part of the placenta, you are not able to see here, the uterine epithelium is completely absent. Apart from that, the connective tissue is also there. But what is the difference here? You can see the endothelium which is there here, so that is being present inside the connective tissue. But here the endothelium is very close to that of the chorion. So that is why the name is being given as Endothelial Coryell, where the endothelium, this is the part of the maternal part. So this maternal part comes very close to that of the chorion. So the diffusion of the substances even occurs very faster in case of Endothelial Coryell placenta. And this type of placenta is being seen in dog, cat, lion, tiger, fox, bear, mongoose and even others. So that is about Endothelial Coryell placenta. Next is what is being commonly seen in case of the human beings, lemur as well as the apes is the Hemocoryell placenta. So here in case of the Hemocoryell placenta, it consists of the barriers which are only associated with the fetus, and the barriers which have to be there in case of the maternal plant, that is being absent. So what happens here is, you can see that endothelium of fetus is there, connective tissue of fetus is there, and below that is the chorion, which means the chorion, okay, or the chorionic villi which are there, so they are being directly embedded into the maternal blood. So the oxygen, nutrients, okay, or the any beneficial substances for the fetal growth, so those substances are being freely present in this maternal blood. So these substances directly they diffuse into the chorion, from the chorion to that of the endothelium of the fetal blood vessel. So that is, we call it as hemocoryell. Hemo means blood, so blood of the maternal part, and coryell is the part which is associated with the fetus. Is that clear? So as the chorion is being directly embedded into the maternal blood, this is called as hemocoryell placenta. And the last type of placenta, what you can see here, is the hemoendothelial placenta, which consists of only one barrier, and that barrier is the fetal's endothelium, which means the remaining 5 barriers which are there, that is connective tissue of the fetus, chorion of the fetus, uterine epithelium of the maternal part, connective tissue of the maternal part, and endothelium of the maternal part. All these are being totally absent. So what happens here is the fetal blood vessel which is there, okay, that is the endothelium of the fetus, okay, that is being completely present into that of the blood. It is being completely immersed, or it is being bathed into the blood of the mother. So that is why that is the placenta called as hemoendothelial placenta, where it is being seen commonly in the rat, rabbits, as well as in the guinea pig. So in today's video, what we have discussed is the different types of the placenta, okay, that is based on the histology. First one is Epithelia Coryell, second one is Syndesmocoryell, third one is Endothelial Coryell, next is Hemocoryell, the last one is Hemoendothelial. So this is based on histology. Based on the nature of the fetal membranes, 3 types of placenta. First one is called as chorioallantoic placenta, second one is called as chorionic placenta, and the third one is called as the yolk sac placenta. This is second type. Third type is based on the fate of the uterine placenta. There are 3 types. One is deciduate, non-deciduate, and the other one is called as contradeciduate. And the last one, fourth type, is based on the distribution of the villi on the chorion. There are presence of the diffused type of placenta, cotyledonary type of placenta, discoid, metadiscoid, and lastly is the zonary placenta. So this is all about the placental types which are being commonly seen in case of the mammals. Thank you.